Hello everyone, and welcome. It's wonderful to have you here today. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling smaller than when it started? It could be a moment when you felt like you had to explain yourself, apologize too much, or agree to something you didn't even want. It's subtle, but these habits can quietly chip away at how we're seen and, more importantly, how we see ourselves. You start wondering if you're coming off as confident or if others can sense the doubt you're trying to bury. The crazy thing about this is that insecurity isn't always obvious. It's not the shaky voice or nervous gestures we imagine. Often, it's hidden in the little things we do, behaviors we barely notice, but that silently broadcast a fear of not being enough. And the truth is, we all fall into these traps at times. That doesn't make us weak, it makes us human. The key is recognizing these patterns and stepping out of them before they define us. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes in. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius remind us that strength isn't about proving anything to others, it's about being the best version of yourself. When you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and values, you stop being a prisoner of what others might think. In this video, we'll uncover 5 common social mistakes that make you look insecure and explore how to replace them with quiet, steady confidence. This isn't about judgment, it's about growth. Before we begin, please subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing videos like this. Let's get started. Seeking validation from others often feels harmless, even normal, but beneath the surface, it quietly erodes our sense of self. Think about the times you've refreshed your phone waiting for a notification or a comment to tell you that what you shared is good enough, or that you're good enough. It might feel like a small thing, but those moments add up, and soon, your confidence depends on external approval. The Stoics warned against this fragile foundation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest minds in Stoicism, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Seeking validation hands that power over to others, making their fleeting opinions the measure of your worth. It's a trap, a never-ending chase that leaves you feeling emptier with each step. When you rely on external approval to feel valued, you're letting someone else decide what you deserve. Let's take this for example. Someone posts an achievement online, something they're genuinely proud of. At first, they feel good, but as the hours pass and the likes come in slower than expected, doubt creeps in. Was it not impressive enough? Did they share it the wrong way? Suddenly, the pride they felt in their accomplishment is replaced by anxiety, all because they placed their self-worth in the hands of others. This isn't just about social media, it shows up in subtle ways, like constantly seeking compliments from friends or over-explaining your choices to make sure others approve. Stoic wisdom teaches us that this kind of validation is fleeting and unreliable. Epictetus said it clearly, freedom is the only worthwhile goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. True freedom and real confidence come when you stop chasing applause and start building approval from within. So how do you break free from this cycle? Start by shifting your focus inward. Reflect on the qualities you admire about yourself, the traits that define who you are when no one is watching. Are you kind, determined, or thoughtful? Hold on to these truths and let them guide your actions. When you stop seeking validation from others, you begin to live for yourself, and that kind of confidence can't be taken away. Trust me, I know it's not always easy, especially in a world that rewards external metrics like likes and recognition, but every time you resist the urge to chase validation, you're reclaiming a piece of your self-worth. It's not about shutting people out or ignoring feedback, it's about prioritizing your values over the opinions of others. When you live in alignment with those values, you'll find that the approval you once sought so desperately from others becomes irrelevant because you'll already have it from yourself. Over-explaining yourself can feel like the polite thing to do, but it often reveals more than you intend. When you find yourself justifying why you made a certain choice, whether it's declining an invitation, expressing an opinion, or setting a boundary, you might think you're offering clarity. In reality, this habit signals uncertainty. The more you try to explain yourself, the more it appears you're seeking permission or approval for your decisions. The Stoics saw simplicity and clarity as virtues, not just in life, but in communication. Seneca believed there was strength in silence, in letting your actions and choices speak for themselves. Over-justifying, he would argue, is a way of handing over your power to others. It's as if you're saying, "Here's why I think I'm right, please don't question me." But what if you could make your choices with quiet confidence, trusting that they don't need to be defended? Let's say a friend invites you to an event, but you're exhausted and know you need to rest. Instead of simply saying, "Thank you, but I can't make it," you launch into a detailed explanation. You tell them about your workload, your lack of sleep, and how you've been feeling run down all week. By the time you finish, you've spent 10 minutes justifying what could have been said in one sentence. What's the underlying message here? It's not just that you're busy, it's that you're worried they'll judge you for saying no. Confident individuals don't feel the need to over-explain. They trust their decisions, understanding that not everyone needs, or deserves, an elaborate justification. Over-explaining often stems from a fear of being misunderstood or disliked, but the Stoics remind us that other people's opinions are not within our control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, live according to your values, and let your actions align with who you are. Those who matter will understand, and those who don't never will. Breaking the habit of over-explaining starts with mindfulness. Before you dive into an explanation, pause and ask yourself, am I clarifying something important, or am I overcompensating? If your reason for explaining is rooted in fear or the need for approval, try holding back. A simple statement, delivered with conviction, often carries far more weight than an elaborate justification. This doesn't mean you should be rude or dismissive, it's about trusting yourself enough to stand by your decisions without needing everyone to agree. Over time, you'll find that simplicity in communication not only feels freeing but also earns you more respect. When your words are measured and purposeful, people listen, and when you trust yourself, you don't need the world to validate your choices. Avoiding eye contact is one of the simplest, yet most profound ways we communicate. It says, "I see you, and I'm here." But avoiding eye contact whispers something entirely different. It can unintentionally signal fear, discomfort, or even dishonesty. For many, it feels safer to look away, to focus on something, anything else, when the pressure of connection feels overwhelming. But the truth is that avoiding eye contact doesn't protect you, it isolates you. The Stoics believed in living fully present, engaging with the world as it is, not as we fear it might be. Making eye contact is one way to embody that presence. When you hold someone's gaze, even briefly, you're acknowledging their humanity and affirming your own. It's not about staring someone down or asserting dominance, it's about connection. As Marcus Aurelius once reflected, if you seek truth, do not fear looking directly at it. Eye contact is an act of courage, it says you're willing to be seen. For example, let's say you're in a meeting, and a colleague asks for your opinion. Instead of meeting their gaze, you look at the table, the wall, or even your own hands as you speak. You might think you're avoiding pressure, but what others see is uncertainty, or worse, indifference. This small act of looking away can create an invisible wall between you and the people you're trying to connect with. It's like hiding behind a curtain in a brightly lit room. Everyone can still see you're there, trying to disappear. Confidence isn't about being the loudest in the room or always knowing the right thing to say. Often, it's in the quiet moments of connection. Steady eye contact shows you're comfortable with yourself and with the conversation at hand. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. Even in moments of discomfort, holding someone's gaze for a few seconds longer can transform the interaction. It shows respect, not just for them, but for yourself too. To build this habit, start small. In your daily conversations, challenge yourself to hold eye contact just a little longer than you normally would. If it feels unnatural at first, that's okay, growth often does. Think of it as a practice in courage, in being fully engaged with the moment in front of you. And if it helps, remember this, steady eye contact isn't about showing others who you are, it's about reminding yourself that you have nothing to hide. Stoic wisdom teaches us to embrace what is within our control. Eye contact falls squarely into that category. It's a simple yet powerful act that speaks volumes about your confidence and self-assurance. When you meet someone's gaze, you're not just connecting with them, you're affirming your presence in the world, and there's no curtain thick enough to hide the kind of confidence that shines from within. Over-apologizing, the words "I'm sorry" carry weight, but when overused, they lose their meaning, and worse, can quietly chip away at your confidence. Over-apologizing isn't just a habit, it's a signal. Every unnecessary sorry you say subtly reinforces the idea that you're at fault, even when no one else believes you are. It's as if you're shrinking yourself, making room for others by undermining your own space. This habit, while often born out of politeness or a fear of conflict, doesn't serve you, it limits you. Stoicism teaches us the value of responsibility, but not guilt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it." When you apologize unnecessarily, you place blame where it doesn't belong, on yourself. True accountability means owning your actions without the constant need for self-reproach. Apologies should be meaningful, reserved for when you've made a mistake or caused harm, and not scattered in every interaction like fallen leaves in the wind. Think of someone who enters a room and apologizes for interrupting, even if they haven't, or a friend who says, "Sorry, I just wanted to share my opinion," as though speaking their mind is a burden. These behaviors, while seemingly polite, send a message, "I'm unsure of my right to be here." Over time, this undermines how others see you and, more importantly, how you see yourself. It erodes your confidence and creates a pattern where your presence feels like something you must constantly excuse. Now, try to think of the impact of breaking this habit. Instead of apologizing unnecessarily, take a pause before saying, "I'm sorry." Ask yourself, is this truly my fault? If the answer is no, replace the apology with gratitude or acknowledgement. For example, instead of, "I'm sorry for being late," you say, "Thank you for waiting." Instead of, "Sorry for asking," you say, "I appreciate your time." These subtle shifts transform how you communicate, not just with others, but with yourself. Over-apologizing also affects how others perceive your competence. If you frequently apologize, even when unnecessary, people might start to doubt your confidence in your abilities. Think about it, would you fully trust someone who constantly questions their worth through needless apologies? Strength, as the Stoics teach, lies in clarity and balance. Owning your actions without over-apologizing communicates both accountability and self-respect. Breaking this habit isn't about silencing yourself, it's about respecting yourself. Start with a simple exercise. For one day, make a conscious effort to track every time you say, "I'm sorry." Write them down. At the end of the day, review the list and ask yourself which apologies were truly necessary. You might be surprised to see how many weren't. Once you've identified the pattern, begin replacing those unnecessary apologies with more empowering language. If you bump into someone, say "Excuse me" instead of "Sorry." If you make a minor mistake, like spilling your drink, replace "I'm sorry" with "I'll fix it." These small changes add up, creating a stronger, more confident version of you. Self-respect grows when you stop apologizing for simply existing. It's not about being rude or avoiding accountability, it's about finding balance. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to focus on what truly matters, not on unnecessary distractions. Over-apologizing is one such distraction, pulling your energy away from meaningful growth. Confidence isn't loud or brash, it's steady and assured. By limiting your apologies to moments that genuinely require them, you not only communicate more effectively, but also remind yourself of your inherent worth. You deserve to take up space, you deserve to be heard, and most importantly, you deserve to live without carrying the burden of unwarranted guilt. Let your apologies be intentional, not habitual. Through this shift, you'll notice a change not just in how others respond to you, but in how you feel about yourself. It's a step toward living with a clarity and self-assurance that the Stoics revered. Trying too hard to be liked often feels like walking a tightrope, balancing your desires with the needs and expectations of everyone around you. You might agree to plans you don't want to attend, share opinions you don't truly believe in, or smile when you'd rather be serious, all in the name of avoiding rejection. This constant people-pleasing may feel like a way to maintain harmony, but in truth, it often backfires. What starts as a way to fit in eventually causes you to lose your own voice, your essence. You begin to feel like you're playing a role, not living your life authentically. The Stoics give us the best advice here: the greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. This quote from Socrates speaks to the heart of the issue. When you bend yourself to meet someone else's expectations, you lose sight of who you really are. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that being liked means being accepted, but Stoicism teaches us that true fulfillment comes not from external approval, but from living a virtuous, honest life. Trying to control how others see you is a fruitless endeavor. Instead, the Stoics advise focusing on your actions, thoughts, and values, letting go of the need for external validation. Think about a person who constantly agrees to plans they don't want to join. They say yes to dinner invitations they'd rather turn down, take on extra tasks they don't have the energy for, or nod along to opinions that don't reflect their own. The idea is simple: keep everyone happy, avoid conflict, and stay liked. But in doing so, they're losing themselves. It's like trying to bend a tree to fit the shape of someone else's view of beauty. The tree might grow that way for a while, but it can never be its true self. Over time, it becomes misshapen, and it's no longer the strong, resilient tree it once was. This is where authenticity comes into play. People-pleasing can cause you to dilute your values, shifting your behavior to suit the whims of others. But authenticity is what earns true respect. People respect those who stand by their beliefs and honor their boundaries, even if it means saying no when it's uncomfortable. When you're authentic, your value isn't dependent on what others think, it comes from knowing who you are and living in alignment with that truth. To break the cycle of people-pleasing, start with small steps. Begin by setting boundaries with simple no's. It could be something as small as turning down an invitation to an event you're not excited about, or respectfully declining to take on an extra project at work. It's not about being rude or selfish, it's about honoring your own time, energy, and values. Remember that setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away, it's about respecting yourself. Start with the small things, like saying no when you want to, even if it feels a little uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be dramatic, it can simply be a quiet shift in your actions. You don't have to explain yourself, and you certainly don't need to justify your reasons. A simple, "I'm unable to commit to this right now" can be enough. The more you practice this, the more natural it will feel. Over time, you'll notice how this shift in behavior aligns you with your authentic self, and that's when the real change happens. The Stoics were masters of living authentically, grounded in their own value. They didn't bend to the whims of others, nor did they seek approval from the masses. They understood that true freedom comes from focusing on what you can control: your actions, your responses, and your mindset. As you learn to say no and set boundaries, you'll find that people start to respect you more, not less. This isn't about being selfish, it's about being self-respecting. Finally, remember that trying to please everyone will only dilute your value. When you're constantly shifting to meet the expectations of others, you forget what you truly stand for. The beauty of authenticity is that it's unshakable. No matter what happens, it stays true to who you are. You don't need to seek approval or bend yourself into a shape that doesn't fit. Instead, focus on your values, and the respect of others will naturally follow. The next time you feel the urge to people-please, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself if this choice aligns with your values. Ask yourself if saying yes will truly add value to your life, or if it's simply a way to avoid discomfort. By letting go of the need to please everyone, you reclaim your authenticity, and in doing so, you strengthen your self-worth. The more you practice living true to yourself, the more your relationships will flourish, not because you've bent to fit others' expectations, but because you've remained grounded in your own truth. Authenticity isn't about being liked by everyone, it's about being at peace with yourself, no matter who's watching. This is the Stoic approach to living a meaningful, confident life, and when you live authentically, you'll find that the respect and connection you seek come naturally, without the need to try so hard. Always remember that these 5 social mistakes, seeking validation, over-explaining, avoiding eye contact, over-apologizing, and trying too hard to be liked, are often driven by a fear of rejection, a desire for approval, or a lack of self-confidence. But the truth is, none of these external factors can truly define your worth. Real confidence comes from within. The Stoics, with their focus on self-control, authenticity, and living virtuously, provide a powerful framework for developing a mindset that is anchored in your values and not swayed by the opinions of others. By recognizing these habits and replacing them with behaviors rooted in self-assurance, you'll start to embrace a life of authenticity, respect, and true confidence. Remember, no one has control over how others perceive them, but you have the power to control how you see yourself and how you show up in the world. So stop seeking validation, trust your decisions, maintain eye contact, hold your boundaries, and embrace your authenticity. The more you live in alignment with your true self, the more fulfilling your life will become. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more insightful content, and remember to turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video like this one. Now take a moment to reflect on these new perspectives and start applying them in your daily life. You've got this. Stay authentic, stay confident, and as always, keep striving for greatness. Thank you for joining me today.